Hi there, it's Nicole for Lawn Fawn, and today I'm sharing this Thanks line border card featuring stamps and dies in patterned paper from Lawn Fawn. This is a pretty clean and simple card dressed up with some fun rainbow colored birds and some heart accents. This Thanks line border is fantastic and immediately is just so interesting and fun and really creates an awesome card. We're going to start by creating a card base from some MERMAID cardstock. I'm also going to trim down some of the really rainbow pattern paper, and this is going to go on the bottom half of the card. In fact, the really rainbow paper is going to be the majority of the card front, taking up a good, I would say, 3/4 of the card design on the bottom half of the card. The top part is only about maybe 1 3/4 inches or so. From a piece of black licorice cardstock, I just have a scrap here. I'm going to die cut that Thanks line border. This is going to be a great divider between the top solid cardstock part of the card and the bottom pattern paper portion. Whenever I'm combining either patterns or cardstock and patterns, or even 2 colors of cardstock, a lot of times I like a thin strip of cardstock. In between the two, it's just a fantastic divider. This Thanks line border automatically creates that same kind of effect. Now, because I'm going to do a portrait style card rather than landscape, I need to figure out exactly where I want to position this along the top of my card, and that's really going to be determined by the accent I'm using. In this case, I'm using the Simply Celebrate bird images, and I want to position part of them to the right and part to the left. So kind of however they fall the best is how I'm going to use them here. So once I have that kind of figured out, I'm going to go ahead and trim down my pattern paper to adhere it to the cardstock, and then I can glue my Thanks line border in place. So I don't think that I cut it down quite far enough when I first trimmed it, so I'm just going to figure out about how much more I want to trim off, probably about a 1/2 inch. I just misjudged it when I trimmed it down. So I'm grab my guillotine trimmer, trim that real quick. Then we want to adhere that to the bottom half of the card. I've got some adhesive strips here. I actually ran out of my tape runner, so I'm just using some thicker strips of score tape, and I used some tweezers to pull that backing paper off. And then I'm going to take the Ranger Multi-Matte Medium. I have a fine tip applicator on this, which is going to be great for this very detailed die cut. Add little dabs of glue all over the back. And then I want to pop this in place. Again, I'm just using my stamp as a guide because I want my birds to be as close to the beginning of the word thanks and the end of the word thanks as possible. So there is my border. I'm going to put something heavy on top of this like an acrylic block and let that sit while I stamp my birds, color those in, and get everything else ready for this card design. This is a card design that if you went ahead and did all of these steps, you could very easily make this an assembly line style card. I think a thank you set of cards would be a great gift for someone. You could switch up the greetings, use different line border greetings, different images, and make these different kinds of cards or for different occasions if you wanted to. But I think this would make a really nice gift set for someone. Here is the Simply Celebrate birds image. I love these little borders from Simply Celebrate. Again, you could maybe use the balloons and do a happy birthday card. There's a birthday line border, or the candles or something like that. The flowers would be cute if you want to use something other than birds. The stars would be cute. You could add faces to them. Lots and lots of things to do here. I'm going to color my birds in rainbow color. I'm keeping their bellies a little bit lighter, so there's going to be a contrasting color there for all my birds. The colors of the markers I'm using are all listed and linked below the video here on YouTube, and also listed and linked on my blog. I didn't put them on the video screen here, just kind of a time saver today, I guess, and I don't always list them in the supply box here on YouTube, but I did today, so it's really easy. These are my probably often used Copic colors. If you've seen my videos before, you've probably seen me use a lot of these. Nothing crazy here. And again, going rainbow order, just doing a little contrasting color for the bellies and for the beaks. Also adding the R20 for cheeks where it will show up. I did not do it over the red bird because it really wouldn't show up. 4 birds are going to fit on the right of the card and 2 on the left. And the best way I found to do this so that I didn't have it cut off funny was to do this side first. So the beginning of the line first, if that makes sense, and the end of the line is going to be at the beginning of the card. So you can kind of see what I mean. I went ahead and die cut this, and I'm adding some glue dots to the back of my birds and then positioning them there on the right side of my card. I'll trim off that excess, and you can see how the other 2 birds are going to fit on the other side. So let's go ahead and color those in real quick. We're going to have a purple one and blue. Since we have the red, orange, yellow, and green on the right side, we're just going to finish off the rainbow. I didn't really mind that it wasn't exactly in rainbow order. You could very easily do these in red and orange and do the rest in yellow, green, blue, purple if you want to, or you could mix and match them. You definitely don't have to go in order. I just kind of wanted the colors from the bottom portion of the paper, the pattern paper part, to be represented up above as well. This adds a lot of interest to this a lot of white space up at the top. So there's my little purple bird. Go in with blue. I love these little birds from Lawn Fawn. I've always loved this particular bird shape. I think they're super cute and fun. Add a little bit of color to the belly, and then the beak and the cheeks, and then we can adhere this right there to the other side of the word thanks. And I love using the bling glue dots. Makes it really easy to adhere this stuff without a liquid adhesive. I'm going to trim off the excess, and I'm just going to take my blue marker and color in that little edge here on the right side where that one bird was trimmed off. Next, we are going to go ahead and add some detail to the birds with a black jelly roll pen. I'm going to take my black pen and add little dots to the eyes. This is going to make the eyes on all of the birds really pop. Then I'm going to take my white jelly roll pen and add some white highlights to all of the birds. And I forgot the cheeks with the R20 on the bluebird, so I did that real quick. Very minimal, just some little highlights along the head on each bird. You could also add little white dots maybe to the belly or to the cheeks if you wanted to. From the Simply Sentiments stamp set, which was made to coordinate with the Simply Celebrate stamp set, I'm going to take from the greeting from all of us and stamp this on some smooth white cardstock using black ink, and then trim this into a thin strip. Kind of trim as close to the stamped sentiment as possible. Put a little score tape on the back of this strip and then pop that right underneath the word thanks. This also serves not only as an additional sentiment, but it helps with the division of the top of the card from the bottom of the card. I like how that little white strip breaks it up a little bit. Again, I'm just going to use my tweezers to help remove the backing paper from this strip. At this point, you could really be done. I always tend to go a little bit further after the point where it can be done. I love to add a few additional embellishments. I'm a big fan of little hearts, especially stars too. This little heart image is from the Sweet Friends stamp set, and I'm going to color these in with rainbow color markers as well. I really kept most of these just to a single color. I didn't worry about blending too many of them. The green I did. I think maybe I even did the blue and the purple. You can blend them if you want to or not, just color them a single color. Then the die is actually just one die, but it die cuts each of these hearts individually. So it really is kind of a time saver rather than having to try to line up all these teeny tiny little hearts. I really like the heart die for the Sweet Friends stamp image I'm using here. I'm going to die cut these hearts then, and then scatter them throughout the card design. So you can see that it's just one die that die cuts all three of these hearts. It's so handy. And we're going to scatter part of the hearts up above where we've got the thanks line border greeting and the birds, and then we're going to scatter even a couple down below and one at the end of the sentiment. I'm going to pop all these little guys out. Again, the Zotz Bling glue dots are going to work fantastic for gluing these in place on the card, since they're a nice small glue dot adhesive. I'm going to do a trio of the hearts up above, one at the end of the sentiment, and then two down below over the pattern paper. Once I have these all in place, I went ahead and put a layer of Nouveau crystal drops in White Blizzard over these. This is a translucent Nouveau crystal drop that has iridescent glitter in it. You could use the Wink of Stella clear glitter brush pen or another clear glittering medium if you wanted to add some glitter to your hearts. I'm going to glue this panel down onto a white top fold card base. I guess I did this first and then I added the Nouveau crystal drops, which is good. The Nouveau crystal drops are going to need to dry for probably a good, if you're making drops, it's always suggested for 24 hours, but I find that this dries generally within a couple hours. It's a pretty thin layer. Thanks for joining me today for this thanks card featuring Lawn Fawn stamps and dies. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Lawn Fawn stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Please subscribe for weekly card making and stamping videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.